Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brianna, and in today's video we will be making this mini crochet boba. You can make it in two versions. This one's more like a polar bear and this more is just like a normal teddy bear. They are the exact same pattern. This is a pretty basic, quick and easy pattern. There is no sewing except for our little ears, which are pretty easy to sew on. For supplies, we will be needing some stuffing. I will be using a size 3mm crochet hook. I will be using a stitch marker to keep track of my stitches. I will be using both safety eyes and this little nose. If you don't have a nose, you can just embroider a nose on. But if you do, I just have a little nose that's about the same size as my eyes. We will be needing a darning needle. For yarn, you are going to want 3 colors. A color for your base, a color for your straw, and a color for your teddy bear. And also you can either use yarn or embroidery thread for the boba, so I'll be just using brown. For this tutorial, I am going to be using this light green color for my straw, this tan for my bear, and this dark green for the base. I'm using weight 4 acrylic yarn for anyone who is curious. But other than that, that's all the supplies we will be needing. And with all that being said, let's get straight into the tutorial. So we're going to start off with our base color. I'm going to be using this dark green. And to start, we are going to make a magic ring. If you don't know how to do a magic ring, I will link in my description my tutorial for how I do a magic ring. Into our magic ring, for round 1, we are going to put 6 single crochet. Then you can go ahead and pull close your magic ring. Between every round, we are going to put a slip stitch chain 1. So at the start of round 2, we're going to go into our first stitch, put a slip stitch, and chain 1. Now for round 2, we are going to do an increase in every stitch. For our first stitch, we want to go in that stitch we did our slip stitch in, so make sure you go into that stitch. And we're doing an increase, so that's just 2 single crochet in the same stitch. I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker in to keep track of my stitches. At the end of this round, we should have 12 single crochet. If you get to the end, you should have this gap between where our stitch marker is and our last stitch, because this is our slip stitch and our chain 1. So to start round 3, we're going to do our slip stitch chain 1. Go ahead and remove your stitch marker. Go into that first stitch again. So for round 3, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, all the way around for a total of 18 stitches. For our first stitch, you want to make sure again that you're going into that stitch you did your slip stitch in. For round 4, we're going to follow the pattern of 2 single crochet, 1 increase all the way around for a total of 24 stitches. Once again, starting with a slip stitch chain 1. For round 5, we are going to be working in our back loops. So if we're looking at our stitches, if this is our V, we're going to be working in this loop back here. This is our V, I'm working in this loop. So for round 5, we are going to do 24 single crochet, so 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. Once again, starting with a slip stitch, chain 1. This time I'm going to put my slip stitch in our back loop. And then once again, make sure you go into that stitch that we just worked into. So that's going to be our first single crochet, and put our stitch marker in. And so just a single crochet in every stitch all the way around for a total of 24. So for round 6, we are once again going to do our slip stitch chain 1. And then we are going to do 24 single crochet all the way around. So a single crochet in every stitch all the way around for 24 stitches. For rows 6 to 14, we are just going to repeat the same pattern, 24 stitches all the way around every single row. So that should be 9 rows of 24 stitches. I'll do the first one with you guys, and then I'll do the rest off camera because it just gets repetitive, but that will just be working up the base of our project. So that is the end of round 6. Between each row, make sure you do your slip stitch chain 1, and to always work in that stitch you put your slip stitch in. So I'm going to do the rest of the rows off camera, and then we will begin working on our teddy bear part of the boba in the next section. So when we get to the end of round 14, we are going to change colors for our teddy bear. You can change colors however you want. This is just how I do it. So take your color that you want for your bear. And in my 24th stitch, I'm going to go into these front 2 loops right here. And then I'm going to grab my new color. Pull that color through those 2 loops. And then just pull out the green. I'm going to drop my tail. And now we can start working on round 15, which I'm going to break into round 15A and round 15B. For round 15A, we are going to work in our front loops. So if we're looking at the V of our stitch, we're working in the loop closest to us, the front. So once again, we are going to do a slip stitch chain 1, but this time only in that front loop. And for round 15A, we are just going to do 24 single crochet all the way around again, but this time only in our front loop. And we are now done working with our base color, so you can go ahead and just cut a short tail. I'm gonna go ahead and take both tails, the tail from the yarn we just attached and the base color. I'm gonna tie a knot and I'm gonna tuck those into the bottom of our project. Now we once again are gonna do our slip stitch, chain 1. And now we are going to work for row 15B, we are going to work in those back loops we didn't work in the previous round. And we once again are just going to do 24 single crochet all the way around. Now at the end of this round we are going to once again do our slip stitch, chain 1. And for round 16 we are just going to do a single crochet in every stitch all the way around, so that's another round of 24 single crochet. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some stuffing. I'm not going to stuff it totally full yet because I don't want it to be so high up that it's getting caught in my yarn, but I'm just going to start putting some towards the bottom. Around 17, we're going to repeat the pattern of 2 single crochet, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 18 stitches. Once again, starting our round with a slip stitch chain 1. For round 18, we are once again going to start with our slip stitch chain 1. And then we are going to repeat the pattern of 1 single crochet, 1 decrease all the way around for a total of 12 stitches. I'm now going to attach my nose and my eyes. My nose is going to be between rows 16 and 17, and my eyes between rows 17 and 18. And then I'm just going to put some more stuffing in, because this is going to be kind of towards the last part where we're able to really stuff it down into the bottom. For round 19, we're just going to do 6 decreases all the way around for a total of 6 stitches. This is the last round we'll be working with our bear color before we switch to the color that we'll be using for our straw. Once again, do a slip stitch chain 1 at the beginning of this round. Now I'm just going to take some tweezers to stuff in any last bits of yarn down into the base. Sorry for the dog barking in the background. Now we are going to take our color that we want for our straw, and we are going to do a color change. Once again, you can do it how you'd like. This is just how I do it. Go into those front 2 loops. There we go. Grab our new color, pull it through those loops, and go ahead and pull out that old color. And once again, we are going to do a slip stitch chain 1. Around 20 to 23, 6 single crochet all the way around, so that'll be 4 rows of 6 single crochet. I'll do the first one with you and then the last 3 off camera because it's repetitive, but you just want to make sure the same thing, that you do your slip stitch, chain 1 between, but other than that it's just 4 rounds of 6 single crochet. Before I do my last 3 rounds, I'm just going to cut a tail of our color we used for our bear. I'm gonna tie it with the tail end of our color change, and I'm gonna stuff that yarn down into our project. And then I'll just do 3 more rounds of 6 single crochet. At the end of round 23, you're just going to do a slip stitch, chain 1. You're just going to fasten off this piece of yarn that we'll use to sew close our straw. You don't need to cut yourself too long of a tail. And then just pull through that chain 1. And before we sew close our straw, I do like to put a little bit of stuffing down into the straw. Having a pair of tweezers or something kind of helps get it down in there. If you can't stuff it, it really doesn't make too big of a difference. I'm just going to sew close that hole. How I like to sew it closed is I go through the front loops and just pull up. And then I go down through the center. And then I just weave in this end a couple of times to secure it. Now we're just going to make our ears, sew those on, and then embroider some boba, and then we are done. Our ears are super simple. We're just going to take the color that we used for our bear, do a magic ring, and put 6 single crochet in that magic ring. Then I'm just going to put a slip stitch, chain 1 in that first stitch. Cut ourselves a little bit of a tail that we'll use to sew the ear on. And just make 2 of these. Now I'm going to begin sewing on my ears. I'm going to take the stitch that pulled tight our magic ring, and I'm just going to put it through a stitch down towards the bottom. I'm going to attach my ears between the row that our nose is attached in, our eyes, and the one above. So across those 3 rounds, I'm going to attach my ears there. Honestly, I am not the best at sewing things on, so I kind of just do what works. I don't have like this amazing technique to do it perfectly, but so far I've never had a problem. I'm gonna pull through. This is the stitch, or this is the end that was the center of my magic ring. but I'm going to use the tail that we cut to do the rest of my sewing. That way I like that both ends are attached to the project to make it more secure. So I'm going to go in the row above where our eyes are. I'd like just to go down kind of the center of our straw. That's where I like to place my ears. Now I'm going to go in the row that my eyes are attached in. Up through my ear. Then I might do one more in the bottom just to make sure it's extra secure. And then I'm just going to leave these ends in, tie them and tuck them into the project. And you'll just do the same thing for our other ear. If you want, you can pin your ears down to help with sewing, but since it's only across such a small space and it's such a small little piece, I don't really ever feel like I need to pin my ears. But do whatever is easiest for you. This time I'm going to start on the top, the row above our above our eyes. Good. Sorry if my filming angles are really bad. It's really hard to film and sew at the same time. Now it's time for our last step, which is sewing on our boba. You honestly could leave it like this without the boba and it would just kind of be like a little bottle, but I'm gonna put some boba on it. It's super easy. Our last step before we're done. So we're gonna take our brown yarn or thread, whatever you're using. I like to go up through the bottom, and what I do, I kind of just embroider this triangle shape. So I'll come out one stitch, go in a stitch above it, out the stitch next to the other stitch, back up through that same stitch, and then back into the other stitch. It's basically just making a triangle. And then I kind of just use my needle to fluff it out a bit. And that's how I do my boba. You can do as few or as many as you'd like. we are officially done with our mini bear boba. I just want to say thank you for crocheting with me. If you liked this pattern, like and subscribe for more. If you have any further comments or anything you didn't understand during the tutorial, put those in the comments down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I do have some other patterns that are similar to this one. I have a tiger milk tea that I really like. If anyone is interested in that, let me know, and I would love to make a tutorial for that one as well. Other than that, I just want to say thank you for crocheting with me, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy crocheting!